Picture this. It's 3:02 a.m., January 4th, 2026. Deep inside Russia, in Kursk Oblast, a massive fireball erupts into the night sky. Engineers who were celebrating just hours ago now stand frozen in horror. 8 months of work, $42 million, 600 technicians working day and night. All of it gone in just for minutes. But here's the twist that makes this story absolutely insane. This isn't the first time Ukraine destroyed this facility. It's the second time. And Russia knew it was coming. They spent millions rebuilding it anyway. And Ukraine, they waited for the perfect moment, like a predator watching its prey, and struck again with surgical precision. This is the story of how modern warfare changed forever. This is the story of Lutch-2 Satellite Ground Station, and this is the lesson Russia refuses to learn. Let me tell you why this single satellite station matters more than 100 tanks or a dozen fuel depots. Lutch-2 Ground Station isn't some random communications facility tucked away in the Russian countryside. No, this is Russia's primary link to their military satellites orbiting 36,000 kilometers above Earth in geostationary orbit. Without this station, Russian commanders lose everything. Real-time intelligence, gone. Encrypted communications, vanished. Battlefield quarantine across their entire southern military district, completely blind. Think about what flows through a military satellite. Reconnaissance imagery showing enemy positions, troop movement tracking across hundreds of kilometers, secure voice and data links between command posts, GPS guidance for precision weapons, weather data crucial for air operations, every single piece of information that keeps a modern military functioning. Russia has 4 primary military satellite ground stations. Lutch-2 in Kursk Oblast handles the most critical zone, the southern theater, Crimea, Donbas, the entire Ukrainian front line. When this station goes offline, Russian generals operating in Ukraine go completely blind and deaf. They're reduced to using vulnerable relay systems that Ukraine can intercept like reading a newspaper. Ukraine knew this, which is exactly why they destroyed it the first time. April 18, 2025, Ukrainian forces hit Lutch-2 with a coordinated drone swarm, 12 modified commercial drones, each carrying shape charges designed to penetrate military infrastructure. They destroyed the primary 60-meter satellite dish, demolished the backup power generators, and collapsed half the control building. The damage assessment was devastating. Station completely non-operational. Estimated repair time 6 to 8 months minimum. Russia panicked. They couldn't operate their southern command structure without satellite links, so they redirected communications throughout their Crimean relay stations. But those systems were immediately overloaded and dangerously vulnerable. The temporary solution was expensive, inefficient, and exposed their entire command network to Ukrainian intercept. Moscow made a decision: rebuild Lutch-2 immediately, spare no expense, get it operational as fast as possible. May 2025, construction crews flooded into Kursk Oblast. Specialized technicians from the Russian Space Agency, engineers from the Defense Ministry, private security contractors to guard the site. Work began around the clock, 3 shifts, 7 days a week. Russia ordered a new satellite dish from Chinese manufacturers because, and here's the kicker, Russia's domestic production couldn't meet military specifications anymore. But here's what Russia didn't know. Ukrainian intelligence was watching every single step. Operatives inside Russia documented the entire construction. Satellite imagery tracked delivery trucks entering the facility. Signal intercepts revealed. Testing schedules. By December 2025, Ukraine knew exactly when Lutch-2 would come back online. December 28, 2025, the new satellite dish was installed. January 2, 2026, system testing began. January 3, 2026, full operational capability restored. Russian military communications routed back through Lutch-2 Russia spent $42 million, 8 months of intensive work, thousands of man-hours. Engineers celebrated in the control room. Mission accomplished. Russia's southern command communications were finally restored. The facility was operational again for exactly 18 hours because Ukraine wasn't just monitoring the reconstruction, they were waiting for the perfect moment to destroy it again. Not when it was built, not during testing, but the exact moment Russia declared it fully operational and started depending on it again. That's when the pain would hurt the most, that's when the message would be clearest. January 4th, 2026, 1:30 a.m. Ukrainian Air Force Command authorized Operation Blackout Protocol, 1 MiG-29 fighter jet for Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Target, Lutch-2 Satellite Ground Station. Mission objective: teach Russia that rebuilding critical infrastructure is pointless when Ukraine can destroy it faster than they can repair it. The strike window was calculated with terrifying precision. Middle of the night, minimal staff on duty. Air defense crews at reduced readiness. Weather conditions perfectly clear. No cloud cover for Russian optical tracking systems to exploit. This wasn't just a military strike. This was a psychological message written in fire and steel. You can rebuild. We can destroy. Over and over and over until you run out of money, patience, or will. 1:45 a.m., January 4, 2026, Starokostyantiv Air Base, Western Ukraine. A single MiG-29 pilot receives mission authorization. Flight plan uploaded. 4 Storm Shadow cruise missiles loaded. 2 under each wing. Total payload: 1 ton of precision depth. Target coordinates locked. 51.5 N. 36.3 Lutch-2 Ground Station. Kursk Oblast. Distance: 485 kilometers from launch point. Flight time to target: 9 minutes once. Missiles deploy. 2:15 a.m. the MiG-29 takes off. No lights, no radio transmissions, pure stealth protocol. The jet climbs to 8,000 meters, then turns northeast toward the Russian border. Pilot flying manually to avoid predictable autopilot patterns that Russian signals intelligence. Might detect. 2:35 a.m. the MiG-29 reaches launch position, 120 kilometers from Lutch-2. Still safely inside Ukrainian-controlled airspace, Storm Shadow missiles don't require border. Their 560-kilometer range means Ukraine can hit deep Russian targets without ever entering hostal airspace. 2:47 a.m. Russian air defense radar at Lutch-2 picks up an anomaly. Single aircraft. Western vector.
Ingress in 3 minutes.
Distance to
Confirm weapon
120
status
kilometers. The radar operator reports to command. Possible hostile contact. Bearing to 140. Speed 950 kilometers per hour. Russian base commander orders Pantsir S-1 system to active status. S-400 battery in Kursk, 60 kilometers north, receives alert. But they're tracking a jet that's still 220 kilometers away. Not an immediate threat. Not yet. 2:51 a.m. The MiG-29 reaches weapons release point. Pilot confirms targeting data. Storm Shadows armed. Launch sequence initiated. Missile 1 drops. Wings unfold. Engine ignites. It dives to 50 meters altitude and accelerates to 1,000 kilometers per hour. 5 seconds later, missile 2 away. 5 seconds, missile 3 away. 5 seconds, missile 4 away. 4 Storm Shadows now racing toward Lutch-2 at nearly the speed of sound, hugging the terrain so close that Russian radar can barely track them. Total flight time, 9 minutes. The MiG-29 banks hard left and dives for the deck. Mission complete. Time to disappear. Before Russian air defense realizes what just happened. 2:53 a.m. Russian radar operators at Lutch-2 suddenly see for new contacts. Low altitude, high speed, incoming fast. They're not tracking a distant jet anymore. They're tracking for cruise missiles. 3 minutes from impact. Panic explodes across the facility. Alarm scream. Pantsir crews sprint to their stations. The S-400 battery in Kursk tries to acquire the missiles, but they're flying too low. Terrain masking makes them invisible to long-range radar. The Pantsir has 12 missiles ready, but Storm Shadows are flying at 50 meters, weaving through valleys, using terrain features to break radar locks. The Pantsir's engagement radar keeps losing track. 2:55 a.m. Pantsir fires 2 missiles blindly toward the last known position of the incoming threats. Both miss. The Storm Shadows are already past the intercept point. 2:58 a.m. Missile 1 hits the primary 60-meter satellite dish. The shaped charge warhead, designed to penetrate reinforced concrete, tears through the dish's support structure like paper. The entire assembly collapses. 40 tons of precision-engineered metal crashes to the ground. Shower of sparks and twisted steel. Engineers in the control room watch their 8 months of work disintegrate in 4 seconds. 2:59 a.m. Missile 2 slams into the backup satellite array. 3 smaller dishes used for redundant communications explode simultaneously. Fragments scatter across 100 meters. Secondary fires ignite. 3 o'clock a.m. Missile 3 penetrates the main control building. The warhead detonates inside the server room. Every computer, every router, every data link obliterated. The building's roof collapses inward. Smoke pours from shattered windows. 3:01 a.m. Missile for destroys the primary power station. Transformers explode. Electrical arcs light up the pre-dawn darkness. Backup generators try to kick in. They last 6 seconds before fuel lines rupture from shrapnel damage. 3:02 a.m. Lutch-2 Satellite Ground Station is completely offline. Again. By sunrise, Russian damage assessment teams arrive. Their report is absolutely devastating. Primary satellite dish. Total loss, backup arrays, destroyed. Control systems, obliterated. Power infrastructure, gone. Communications equipment, irreparable. Estimated reconstruction time, 8 to 10 months. Estimated cost, $50 million. And everyone knows Ukraine will just destroy it again. Let's talk about why this strike represents a fundamental shift in how wars are actually fought. The economics are absolutely brutal and unsustainable for Russia. For Storm Shadow missiles, $8.8 million total. Russia's Lutch-2 reconstruction costs, $42 million. Already spent. Plus $50 million needed for the second rebuild. Total Russian investment to maintain this single facility, $92 million. Ukrainian investment to destroy it twice, $8.8 million. Russia is spending $10 for every $1 Ukraine spends. This is mathematically unsustainable, but the timing was the real masterpiece. Ukraine didn't strike during construction, they didn't strike during testing, they waited until Russia declared the station fully operational and began routing critical military communications. Through it again, then they destroyed it. Maximum operational disruption, maximum psychological impact, maximum message delivered. Russia can't trust any rebel infrastructure to stay functional. The psychological impact is soul-crushing. Imagine you're a Russian engineer. You spent 8 months rebuilding this facility. You worked through brutal winter conditions. You celebrated when it came back online. 18 hours later, you watch it explode again. That's not just demoralizing. That's the kind of defeat that makes people question whether any of this is worth it. The message is crystal clear. Russia keeps trying to rebuild critical infrastructure. Ukraine keeps destroying it faster than Russia can repair it. Every bridge reconstructed gets hit again. Every depot rebuilt gets struck again. Every facility restored gets eliminated again. Ukraine isn't just fighting a military war. They're fighting a war of attrition against Russia's will to keep rebuilding. Russia spent $92 million trying to maintain one satellite station. Ukraine spent $8.8 million destroying it twice. Russia has lost Southern Theater satellite coverage for 18 of the last 24 months. Their military operations in Ukraine are degraded. Their command efficiency is compromised. Their generals are operating partially blind. One satellite station, 2 strikes, 9 months of operational blackout, tens of millions in wasted reconstruction costs, immeasurable strategic degradation. January 4th, 2026, 3:02 a.m. The moment Russia learned that some infrastructure isn't worth rebuilding because Ukraine will just destroy it again and again and again until Russia stops trying. Welcome to modern warfare, where destruction is cheaper than reconstruction, where patience defeats persistence, where Ukraine keeps proving that they can outlast, outthink, and outfight anything Russia throws at them. Russia still hasn't learned the lesson. Ukraine keeps teaching it.